Peace to you and yours wherever you may be. I love you continually for free. And I'm making this video for a community, an off-grid community that I just joined, and specifically for a segment of that community that they're just starting off in this idea of off-grid. And off-grid means different things to different people. To me, off-grid in its most strictest definition means that you get your water off the land where you are. You get your power off the land where you are. You made your shelter without mortgage and without any of the normal routes that people take. Maybe you even harvested the building materials, whether it is adobe type home or wood that you milled from your own property, or whatever. To me, that's what off-grid means, but mainly from the power and the water perspective, if nothing else. But I think that in the broader sense, off-grid is tied to preparedness, and I think some people kind of get overwhelmed by the concept of off-grid, so that in their mind they have to find some land someplace and go out there and sleep in a tent or in their car while they're trying to, and to me, again, this is all IMO. That's not necessarily the case. I think a person could be off-grid or moving off-grid, moving in the direction of their off-grid dream, if they're living in an apartment in the middle of the city. I come from, basically Depression era grandparents, and obviously Black grandparents. But being a child of the late 60s, raised in the 70s, all of our grandparents were Depression era. And those people didn't have terminology like, prepping and preparedness and all of that. But they did all those things. And so we grew up learning that when we were little. So I'm not special in that regard. My whole generation, to some degree, has some experience with that across all color lines. What I'm trying to say is, if you don't have any experience with that, if you're in that 20-something group, you're in that 30-something group, and you didn't have parents or grandparents that were into canning, or they didn't keep animals, or they didn't have gardens, or they didn't, treat you with herbs when you were sick, any of those type of things that I experienced growing up. What you have to understand about this whole thing is that it's a lifestyle. It's if it's truly foreign to you and you don't know where to start, it's not a big deal, because it's not something you're ever going to stop doing. You know what I mean? There's no destination here. So you don't have to get, overwhelmed or depressed because you haven't found what you're looking for, or you've been trying so hard to make it work and it's just not coming together. You will see in the stories of other people around you in the community, you will see that things happen in their own time. And as long as you're working towards it, like my elder used to say all the time, he would say, give it a little energy, African. He said, man, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this. When I was young, I would get so wound up about stuff. He said, just give it a little energy, African. You know, it'll come forward. And that's the truth, you know what I mean? And even if it doesn't come forward, you got to live until you die. So start ramping up on your knowledge. If you don't have a month's worth of food, reach that goal. I have a month's worth of food and supplies. I mean, when I say supplies, I mean everything a person could need for that amount of time. If you don't have your everyday carry bags or your emergency bags together, your first aid kits, your vehicles, first aid kit for your home. If you don't have these type of things together, start putting them together little by little. Figure out what's important in your strategy, because your thing is not going to be exactly the same as my thing. It differs by region. It differs by whether or not you're city or you're rural. It differs if you own land or if you are living, if you're an apartment dweller or a mobile home dweller or anything like that. You have to work on your circumstances. There are certain things which apply to everybody. The ability to grow food. I think everybody should learn that. And that's not something you don't just say, okay, I got 500 seeds, I'm ready to go. No, it doesn't work like that. I'll tell you, you got to grow to know how to grow. And you have to grow in your particular zone, your particular area. I can talk to somebody who is even, say, 200 miles away from me, and they can give me some good advice about a particular variety of a vegetable or a fruit or something like that. But they're not going to have exactly the same pest pressure as I have. They're not going to have the exact same disease pressure on their property as I have on my property. They're not going to have the, even seasonal stuff, which is in general the same, won't be exactly the same. And these are all things which you learn by working in your area. So you have to start ramping up on your knowledge. When it comes to land, a lot of people get very antsy about land, but understand that you don't necessarily have to own the land. You can lease. And there's a lot of people out there that have land that they're not doing anything with, that will lease you a piece of property, for a certain amount of time, and you just don't leave anything permanent on it. People are, the container home thing is all the rage and all of that. But hey, man, a $3,000 camper trailer already has a stove in it. It already has, a bathroom. It already has a gray water tank and a black water tank. It's already got wheels on it. It's already highway legal. All you need is a half-ton pickup truck or van to get it to a location. Why would you build a $40,000 tiny home, to find out later, hey, I don't want to live in a small space. You know what I mean? Get your $3,000 camper. And now you can do things. You want to grow some stuff? Fine. Do a lease, grow. That's a lot of you people own property, but you don't think about the property that you own. You don't realize it. And when I say that, what I mean is you are an heir to property that has never went through probate. All right. And so no one can stop you from using that land. Now, out of good courtesy and everything, you should consult with the rest of your family and so on and so forth. But bottom line is they have to make room for you to use a piece of that land, or it has to go to probate, one or the other. So if you're not doing nothing more than putting some fruit trees out there, putting some nut trees out there, identifying the fruit and nut trees that are already there, propagating that, air layering it, taking cuttings, whatever the case may be, getting the things out of there that are of no benefit to the people, identifying medicinals that might be on the property. All of that stuff is all of our responsibility. And most of us are lacking in it, myself included. So this all comes back to the knowledge thing, man. First, take an assessment of who you are, where you are, what you know, and what you don't know. And just keep on that knowledge trail and understand that this, if it was never a lifestyle for you, it's a lifestyle for you now. You're going to do it until you eat dirt. And that's really it, man. And, you know, as long as the good Lord has me on location, if you have a question, you can look me up on Facebook, send me a message, and I'll do my best to answer it. You know, I'm not that busy, but if I get super busy and I don't answer you, just understand that it's not personal. You know what I mean? Be respectful of me. I'm going to be respectful of you. I love y'all for free, continually, every time.